If there's one thing that people love doing, it's ranking things. Wait, and that applies to Geometry Dash as well. The playing side of Geometry Dash has some of the most talented people in the community. Over the years, they've created some of the most iconic moments. A few people have tried to rank the greatest players of all time, but the question still stands as to who's the GOAT. So today, I'm gonna try my hand at this debate, with my own spin to it. This is a GOAT pyramid, and today, we're gonna be making one. You might be wondering what this even is, so allow me to explain. A few years ago, people figured out a new way to rank the top players in a sport. They'd assemble the 30 best players and put them on different levels. The bottom tier has the most people, the top tier has the least. The further up you go through the pyramid, the greater the player is. For example, here's one for the NBA, here's one for the WWE, and here's one for quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, the cool thing about a pyramid format is that instead of ranking people by an individual number, you're putting multiple people inside of a single tier. It really helps out, as it's really difficult to figure out which individual player is better than another. With that being said though, you also might be wondering what the requirements to make the pyramid even are. And for that, allow me to explain. For Tier 5, these are for the top 30 greatest players of all time. While they may not have gathered notoriety for a long period of time, they've had great moments and won't be forgotten for a while. Tier 4 are people that you'd have in your top 20. If you've made many significant contributions to the community and had a major presence in the community for a while, you've earned yourself a spot in Tier 4. If you're in Tier 3, you're one of the greatest players to ever do it. With massive crowning achievements or verifications, these players are some of the best the game has to offer. This is around the area where the best separate themselves from the great. Tier 2 is essentially the Mount Rushmore of Geometry Dash. Tier 3 has some of the best players, but Tier 2 has the best players. These people led an entire era and were untouchable for a long period of time. You can make a good case for any of these people being the GOAT. And speaking of the GOAT, he resides in Tier 1. Out of the millions of people that have played this game, this person resides as the greatest player of all time. And that is a GOAT pyramid. Now before we get to the meat of the video, I'm going to explain the rules for my pyramid. First off, I'm going to be including star grinders in this list, so people like Cool Dash are going to be put on the pyramid. You can say that they're different kinds of players, but in my eyes, they deserve a stake in the list as well as Demon Slayers. This is not going to be a list of the current best players. The era that the player played in is extremely important to a person's greatness. Beating Cataclysm in 2015 was as big of an achievement as beating Tartarus today. The best player and the greatest player has a lot of differences. Another thing is that if you want to rank this yourself, you have to replace someone on that spot. If you think a person deserves to be in Tier 4, you have to rank someone down as well. These spots are limited. And finally, this list is completely subjective. None of these ranks are factual. Considering how difficult it was for me to rank all of these people, it wouldn't surprise me if the vast majority of people disagree with me on this list. If you do, or want to participate, I'd love to hear your pyramid or any adjustments you'd have in the comments. With that being said, I've explained the inner workings and the rules of the pyramid, so let's start ranking people. Starting with Tier 5, we have Sandstorm. Sandstorm is probably the greatest 60Hz player of all time. Once he got a 144Hz monitor, he went on an absolute tear, beating Bloodlust, Sonic Wave, and the Yandere. While he doesn't play the game today, he'd still be a force to be reckoned with, and would probably be able to beat the current top demons without much trouble. Sandstorm had the potential to be the greatest player of his time, but due to inactivity and having interest in other games, he ended up abandoning GD. You can't help but think what he could have done, but even then, his accomplishments have earned him a spot in Tier 5. Smokes. In my opinion, Smokes is criminally underrated. He verified most of the Plastipulse series, including Plastipulse Finale, which for a while was being debated to be harder than Bloodlust. Even though PPF is his only crowning achievement, him verifying Plastipulse Finale cannot be underappreciated. The fact that it was competing with Bloodlust, which at the time was the far away hardest demon, is an incredible accomplishment. We saw what beating Bloodlust did for NobbleBoy's career, so we should put some love on Smoke's name as well. Not only that, but he committed to verifying most of his series, where the easiest level is an insane demon. Just for his commitment and great accomplishments, I'm gonna put Smoke solidly in tier 5. Shaggy23, our first star grinder on the list. Shaggy was the first ever person to dethrone Michigan as the top star grinder. That alone would be a massive achievement, but he's also the second ever person to reach 100,000 stars, which honestly sounds insane. Unfortunately, due to the frozen leaderboards, he didn't get near as much recognition as he deserved, which really irks me, as a lot of the star grinders that are featured later in the pyramid didn't get near as much recognition as they deserved. More on that later though. Recognition or not, Shaggy is still a fantastic player and deserves to be on the pyramid. Next is Quasar, the first ever Bloodbath victor after Riot. It took a very long time to beat Bloodbath, but he was the first to ever get it done. After that, he took the new straight flying tactic to the next level, showing people what was possible with the ship. Due to finger pains though, he quit the game after being tasked to verify Bloodlust, and honestly, if he did, that would be insane. If he kept playing, we could be talking about Quasar being in tier 4 or even in tier 3, but alas, he's here in tier 5. Next up, we have Passy Blitz, who, much like Smokes, is an extremely underrated player. He was the first ever person to reach 1,000 demons. He never got recognition for being the best player, the top 1 star grinder, but his accomplishment is still incredible even to this day. You're extremely hard pressed to get even 1,000 demons today. Just over 250 people have over 1,000 demons, and Passy did this years ago. Passy was a great mix between a star grinder and a demon slayer, and with how ahead of his time he was, he deserves a spot in tier 5 just for his incredible accomplishment that still amazes me to this day. Next up, and probably controversially, I have Zanny here in tier 5. Verify the infamous Sonic Wave Infinity. Verifying SWI is already a fast pass to getting into tier 5 alone due to how massive the level's legacy is, but he has the potential to go even further still. While it looks like he wants to take his career in a different direction, we'll still have to wait and see what Zanny decides to do for his future. Either way, I'm fully behind him, solidly in tier 5. Also, thank you for commenting on my video. Smithy777, currently the best star grinder in Geometry Dash. He currently has the number 1 spot with a significant lead, but considering the leaderboards just got unfrozen, I'm hesitant to put him any higher than tier 5. That being said, he has a lot of promise that he'll end up becoming the next big star grinder. While I don't think we'll ever have the next Michigan, Smithy could definitely end up becoming an icon if he plays his cards right. Either way, we'll see what'll happen and what legacy Smithy will carve for himself. Sid125. Out of every player I've seen recently, Sid is the player I've been the most impressed by. He's beaten 33 of the 75 main list demons, including Tartarus, Zodiac, the Golden, and many, many others. The craziest thing is that this guy is 15 years old. 15 years old. Sid, at 15, is a top 10 player and is building a top tier resume, while me at 15 was trying to beat Deadly Clubstep. If Sid was just any normal player, he'd already probably be in tier 5, but the sky's the limit for him. I'm genuinely excited to see where he goes, and maybe in the not too distant future, we could be talking about Sid approaching tier 3. Caramel. People might be surprised that he's on the pyramid because you think of him to be more of a creator, but when you consider that he verified all of his levels and Phobos, it makes sense as to why he's here. From strictly a playing perspective, just think about what he's accomplished. Conical Depression, EXO, Elite Z Rebirth, Black Blizzard, Heartbeat, and of course, Low Death. While he's probably the greatest variety player of all time, even from a strictly playing perspective, Caramel is a fantastic player and a great personality. You can't help but to love him. And for the final spot in tier 5, we have Stormfly. While he was drowsed in controversy for a while, and he doesn't beat demons much anymore, he single-handedly revived the Hell series after Cyclic got exposed for hacking. Since San was a hot topic at the time, the Hell series was probably the biggest series for a good long while. Not only that, but they were incredibly difficult. Those levels were pushing into the top 10 for the time, and Stormfly was ahead of it. Partially thanks to Stormfly, we know who San is today, and the Hell series is one of the more popular series of Extreme Demons today thanks to him. And that concludes Tier 5. Unfortunately though, that's all the time I have left. Tomorrow, I'll reveal the rest of the pyramid. Before I sign off though, I want to thank you guys for 10,000 subscribers. It's honestly insane that I was at 3K, and now I'm at 10,000. You guys are absolutely insane. I can't really express it very well, but it means the world to me. Sappy YouTuber stuff aside though, comment down your predictions on who will fill the rest of the spots, and until then, I'll catch you all later.